During the early part of the season, there was a moment when it seemed like the Milwaukee Bucks were starting to look quite shaky. Beginning in December 10 up to January 21st, the Bucks accumulated a 10-11 win-loss record, which was the 13th worst record in the NBA within that span of time. Overall, during that 6-week span, Milwaukee had a sub-500 record while falling 5.5 games behind the league-leading Boston Celtics. However, it wasn't really a mystery why Milwaukee looked like this, as they didn't really have their team at full strength. A sore knee sidelined Giannis Antetokounmpo for 7 games, and various issues caused all-star guard Jrue Holiday to miss 6 games as well. And although Khris Middleton made his season debut during that rough stretch after 7 months of recovery, he still kinda looked inconsistent upon returning on the court. And as a result of their all-stars missing some time, Milwaukee's role players were basically forced to create something out of nothing. Within that 6-week stretch from mid-December to late January, the team produced the NBA's 4th worst offensive rating. However, once the team started getting healthy, Milwaukee has once again reminded everyone why so many people picked them as one of the favorites to win the NBA championship this season. Since Giannis and Khris Middleton returned to the lineup on January 23rd, Milwaukee has won 12 straight games heading into the All-Star break and are also just half a game away from being the top-seeded team in the Eastern Conference. Well, the thing is, as expected, the Bucks' defense would always hold up. They currently have the second-best defense in the NBA, behind customary all-defense caliber seasons from Brook Lopez, Jrue Holiday, and Giannis. However, what's really been surprising is that since their 12-game win streak began, Milwaukee has also recorded a 119.8 offensive rating, which is the 8th best offense in the entire league within that span of time. This is actually a huge development, as prior to their win streak, the Bucks' offense was actually the 9th worst in the entire NBA. So what's good everyone, it's Real Balls here, but before we continue, if you guys happen to enjoy this video, please do me a favor by hitting that like button. It only takes a second of your time, but it will be much appreciated. So let's get to it. Whatever afflicted Giannis Antetokounmpo's right knee early in the season already seems to be a thing of the past, as since returning to the Bucks lineup on January 23rd, the Greek Freak has put up a crazy stat line of more than 34 points, almost 13 rebounds, and almost 6 assists in just 33 minutes per game, while also shooting a ridiculous 58% from the field within that 12-game span. Overall, Antetokounmpo's 34.8 points per game within that span of time is also the highest scoring average recorded by any player in NBA history over a 12-game span without losing a single game. And as if that's not good enough, Giannis has also been starting to drain his three-pointers as of late. During the Bucks' win streak, the Greek Freak has shot 33.3% from behind the arc, and although that's not an elite percentage, it's definitely a huge leap from the 24.5% mark from deep that he registered during his first 35 games of the season. Crucially though, Giannis hasn't fallen in love with shooting jumpers. He knows where his biggest strength lies, which is why he's continued to attack the paint against whatever kind of coverage that's in front of him. During the Bucks' win streak, 70% of Giannis' total field goals have actually come at the paint, which is one big reason why he's taken more free throws than any other player in the league within that span of time. Well, sure, you'd want him to shoot better than the career-low 62.4% mark he's recorded from the free throw line over the past 12 games, but still, I think it's hard to ask for anything more from Giannis, given the kind of pressure that he puts on defenses game in and game out whenever he chooses to attack those driving lanes. Give Giannis enough space to penetrate or even the slightest opening in the lane, whether it be on the half court or in transition, and somehow he's gonna be able to use his size and long strides to bulldoze his way right into the basket despite multiple defenders standing right in his way. And the numbers don't lie. This season, among all 41 players to average at least 3 shot attempts per game in the paint, Giannis' 79.9% mark actually ranks first in the entire NBA. Whether it be coming out of isolations or coming out of rolls to the basket, there's just no stopping the sheer force and physicality that Giannis actually brings. In this clip, on the half court, you can see Giannis using the screen from Pat Connaughton to open up a driving lane for himself. The Lakers' defense looks ready to stop him, but watch how the quick Euro step just freezes every single defender in the paint as Giannis finishes with the easy finger roll. Then here, Giannis brings the ball down court in semi-transition. Watch how he goes from half court all the way to the paint with just 2 dribbles, dribbles before forcing his way right into the heart of the Clippers defense and overpowering everyone with the nasty dunk. But what's actually even scarier for opposing teams is how Giannis is also starting to look consistently comfortable in terms of countering what the defense gives him, particularly with his mid-range jumpers from the long mid-range area, which is from within 14 to 21 feet of the basket. Here, you can see Giannis calling for an isolation from the elbows. He just casually starts posting up his man before using that size and length to create separation for that smooth 18-foot turnaround jumper. Then here, you can see the Bucks running a double drag screen play for Jrue Holiday. The Clippers do a good job with the drop defense, so Giannis actually hesitates to dive right to the rim. Still, when he gets the ball in the middle, he just uses a jab to set up the 16-foot jumper, which he drains with a hand on his face. Well, it's a fact that Giannis can make those types of jump shots. Last season, he actually shot a career-high 44% from that long mid-range area. And although his numbers from that zone have been down to 39% this season, the sheer threat alone of Giannis getting buckets as a jump shooter has been enough to keep defenses honest, considering Giannis has also been looking as sharp of a playmaker as he's ever been. The thing is, the Milwaukee Bucks obviously launch a lot of three-pointers. They're one of only 5 teams in the NBA this season who are attempting more than 40% of their total shots from behind the arc. During their 12-game win streak alone, the Bucks have attempted a total of 506 three-point shots, which is the second most in the NBA within that span of time. The good news is, the shots have actually been collectively falling for the team, as they've shot 37.5% from 3 during their win streak, ranking as the 9th best outside shooting mark in the NBA within that span of time. Because of this, Giannis has also been making the most of his gravity as a drive and kick offensive engine for the team. During their win streak, Giannis has been averaging 3.8 three-point field goal assists per game, which is the second most in the NBA within that span, only behind Trae Young. With defenders continuing to build walls and continuing to crowd his driving lanes, Giannis has also increasingly made solid kickouts to Milwaukee shooters. Here, you can see Miami building a wall right in front of Giannis, so right there he reads the floor, and upon seeing how open the weak side is, Giannis fakes a drive and just throws the one-handed skip pass to Grayson Allen, who easily hits the open corner 3. Well, credit definitely goes to Milwaukee's role players for stepping up their shooting game as of late. First, I think Jevon Carter deserves a lot of recognition as Milwaukee's breakout player of the season. The 27-year-old has actually earned a career-high 22.5 minutes played per game, all while shooting a highly efficient 41.7% from 3, which three-point mark has even further increased to 55.1% during the Bucks' win streak. Pat Connaughton, meanwhile, has shaken off a slow shooting start to the season. He was only shooting less than 30% from deep by the end of 2022, but he's been up to 44% during the team's win streak. And lastly, despite drawing some flack for showing reluctance to fire away from deep in some instances, Grayson Allen overall is still knocking down a solid 40.6% of his 4.8 three-point attempts per game for the entire season. Overall, those role players have been a key element of Milwaukee's pre-All-Star break surge. However, I think what's actually made the team so overwhelming as of late is Khris Middleton starting to look like his usual self. Well, sure, Middleton is coming off the bench for the first time in ages and is still operating under a minutes restriction, but that hasn't actually kept him from playing at a high level, as during the 10 games he's played since returning on the court, he's been averaging a solid 15 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 3.6 assists in just more than 19 minutes per contest. He's just been able to provide the necessary punch needed from Milwaukee's bench, which has actually been crucial for a team that's been pretty much falling apart whenever Giannis or Jrue Holiday sat on the bench. Cause looking at it, during the minutes we're in, Holiday and Giannis were off the court this season, the Bucks recorded their 2 biggest drop-offs in offensive production. This is where we see the importance of Khris Middleton as a self-sufficient scorer for the team, especially during their win streak. As in the 30 minutes that Middleton was on the court without either Giannis or Holiday, the Bucks have still outscored opponents by a team-best 26 points per 100 possessions during their win streak. The scary thing is, this Bucks team isn't at full strength yet. Once Bobby Portis returns on the floor, he should continue to provide instant offense off the bench while also being the third big man alongside Giannis and Brook Lopez when Milwaukee wants to supersize. Veterans Wesley Matthews and Joe Ingles could also play that role for Milwaukee against bigger wings, but most importantly, upon his arrival, the hope is that new acquisition Jae Crowder should offer a little bit of everything on both ends of the floor. Crowder, playing small ball power forward, should give the Bucks more floor spacing while also unlocking those high highly potent lineups with Giannis at the center position. Overall, Milwaukee's recipe for success has always rested on being bigger, stronger, and more versatile than any other opponent. That formula has won them an NBA championship in 2021 and has also pushed Boston to 7 games last season even without Khris Middleton. The good thing for Bucks fans is that formula hasn't changed at all, which is why when healthy, this Bucks team should have as good of a chance to win the championship than any other contending team out there. So thank you guys if you made it this far into the video, but let me ask you, how high do you think are Milwaukee's chances to win a championship this season? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.